Hey, all. Just before we start this episode, I just want to do a quick trigger warning. We talk about some heavy stuff in this episode: racism, sexism, drug overdose, among other very, very tough things to listen to. If that's something you don't want to tune into, that's fine. We hope you tune into the next episode.
Welcome to the Pit Crew. I'm Camille, you're attending, and I have my residents with me.
I'm Mal.
And I'm Robert.
Mal, would you like to present today's patient?
Sure would. Today's patient presents with a serious case of baby girlism, because so many characters on this show are baby girls in both positive and negative ways.
And delusional ways.
Yes, Santos, baby girl.
Langdon,
Pitt, baby girl.
baby girl. Today we are covering 8 a.m., which we are rebranding to Physician Heal Thyself. Is there anything we have to cover first?
Spoilers for everything up until this point.
Oh, yeah. Let me say that.
Spoilers for everything that is out of the
Yeah.
pit up until this point.
Now, we're going to spoil season 2 before it even starts recording.
Very true. That is actually true.
Of the script. We wrote the scripts, actually. They called us up. They were like, hey, Pit Crew, what should season 2 be about? We were like, thanks for asking.
That is so true.
Have Santos and Garcia kiss. Thank you.
That was the first scene I wrote, guys. So you're welcome.
Have they kissed? Or got a little wonky.
We resume this episode literally right off where we left the last episode because, hey, it is a serialized episode hour by hour of this shift. So we come back to Dr. Robbie still flashbacking, having trauma and peds.
Yeah. So we finally get to understand, and we'll see this come back as a major plot point throughout the season, but we understand now his trauma, at least a little bit with peds, is that's where Doc Adamson was. So we do get that little introduction to what the hell's going on with him. Dana's warnings to everyone finally make sense to us as viewers. So Robbie fills Dana in on the situation with David. And Dana says, what's wrong with kids these days? And he goes, you mean besides social media, the worldwide pandemic, environmental crisis, gun violence?
Retweet.
We do have our first overdose of many this season is Nick Bradley. He's 19, unresponsive, bradycardic. For those that don't know, bradycardic just means your heart rate is way, way, way...
Isn't it brachycardic?
No, bradycardic. You've got tachycardic and bradycardic. Tachycardic is too high, bradycardic is too low. He comes in, he's got pinpoint pupils. Robbie, I love noticing in the scene that Robbie is, while they're doing vitals and going over everything, Robbie is asking leading questions. He's being a good teacher. He's not getting hands-on involved. He's standing off to the side, watching very intently, leaning in and saying, does this fit this? Does this? Like he's leading them into how they need to be thinking. And I love watching him do that. Because I like to say when I'm training someone and they're doing something, because we do a lot of like diagnostics in the kind of work that I do. And one of my favorite things is to just be like, does that make sense? Even if they're working on something, be like, so if this and this, does that make sense for your hypothesis of this? And I like that kind of teaching. I like to just ask a lot of questions.
Well, and that's just good teaching. Like any teacher education program will teach you, you can't give a kid the correct answer. You can't give someone that you're trying to get to learn the right answer. Like you have to kind of lead them to discovering the right answer if you want that learning to stick. And so I think Robbie is a very, very good teacher. Like he kind of gives them enough space to kind of make these discoveries and do these things on their own, which is lovely and wonderful to see.
So one can say that Dr. Robbie is very baby girl right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was going to talk about this later on, but I can bring it up now, is that during episode 1, John Wells, one of the producers, had a note for Taylor Dearden, who plays Mel King. And he told her privately, no one else knew this, but he was like, stay as close to Robbie as you can. Like, she is following Robbie. She wants to be as close to Robbie as possible. And so if you see, like, in episode 1, where they go to round, and you can almost see, like, Mel and Langdon duking it out, trying to be the closest to Robbie. And, like, Langdon has to, like, sprint to get in front of her. And it's so cute to watch, but also like they are both trying to be as close as possible to him. But this is the episode where we're going to see that shift for Mel, is that she's less attached to Robbie and more so Langdon, and then that continues through the rest of the season. And I think it really shows like how empathetic she is as a person is that
Mm.
she's picking up on these cues of like, Robbie doesn't have time for me. Langdon
Mhm.
clearly does because he's showing interest in being a teacher to her.
Mhm.
So Collins is presenting the treatment plan for Nick Bradley, and she's clearly uncomfortable. Like she's clearly in pain. Her voice kind of shakes a little bit. She's kind of shifting on her feet strangely. Robbie is picking up on this and she is brushing it off. She does not like, unfortunately for her, he is very astute. You know, he's picking up on all of this. We're moving very quickly. Whitaker is moving Mr. Milton into the hallway because they need that little area. They need that bed for another patient. We get this backstory for Whitaker. We learn that he is the first in his family to go to college because Mr. Milton is being so sweet to him and saying that his parents must be very proud of him being a doctor. And so we just get this wonderfully endearing moment where we learn again Whitaker's the first to go to college. His parents, sacrificed a lot to get him there. I mean, not even just to go to college, he went through med school. Like that's crazy, you know?
Oh man, I really like Mr. Milton. I mean, he's gonna get discharged soon because all he has is gallstones. I imagine he's gonna call his wife soon and be like, "Hey, the only found were gallstones. They're gonna let me out soon."
Would you guys let your significant other go to the hospital with like chest pain alone?
No.
Yeah, and I'm not judging Mrs. Milton, but, like, I would never if my significant other was like, "I'm having chest pain enough that I think I need to go to the ER," I wouldn't let them go by themselves.
No.
But guys, Mr. Milton's fine.
Mr. Milton Mr. Milton is fine, and he's returned to his wife, actually.
Sullivan's Steakhouse right now.
Yeah. The Sullivan Steakhouse in the sky.
Whitaker comes to present Mr. Milton to Dr. Collins, but Dr. Collins is already gone. Robbie kind of steps in and is like, "Well, can I see it?" And so he presents, and Robbie's kind of like, "Why did you order an EKG?" And Whitaker kind of like, you can tell he's panicking because he's like, "Oh my God, I don't know." And so he's like, "Oh, princess." Princess said too. And Robbie's like, "Well, good. You should always listen to the nurses. They know what they're talking about." Which again hits on what Robert said last week, is that like a lot of people will say like your nurses know better than your doctors do. They just can't say to your face. Mr. Spencer's children have arrived, and Robbie gets 2 seconds to breathe before he walks right back out into it. And
I like how you put in the notes. Why the hell is Jeremy spelled that way?
Yes.
Jerem.
Jerem.
If you have the subtitles on, it's Jeremy with an E at the end instead of with a Y. And so
Jereme.
So when I read it, my brain just goes, Jerem.
Jerem.
Basically, we get this hesitancy from
His children.
mostly from Helen, though. It's
Yeah.
not Jeremy. Jeremy, and we'll get into this, but Jeremy has lived a good life with his dad. He's got funny nicknames with his dad and good memories, and he's there to comfort his dad. And Helen is struggling because we will learn later that she has kind of rejected the silly goofiness of her father that she now understands was very valuable. And she feels a lot of guilt over that. And we see that guilt presenting as her desperately trying to have more time with him.
I am very big on there's also a conversation I had recently with my partner of like, your advanced care directive, aka like, hey, this is the things I want you to do with me depending on scenario XYZ. They're just because your heart is beating and you're there does not mean you're living a life worth living. So like sometimes, as Dr. Robbie says, the best thing he could offer Mr. Spencer is a peaceful passing here in the hospital.
And the thing about an advanced care directive is it does not go into play unless you literally cannot communicate. If you can communicate by blinking or indicating some other way, this is not in play.
In the next episode, we get a little speech from Dr. Robbie where it's like, yeah, people die, the 150,000 people die every day.
Mhm.
And doctors sort of had to grapple with their own mortality about it and make
Yeah.
peace if they can. And Dr. Robbie hasn't, but like it's sort of the same idea for me, where it's like, hey, this piece of paper of do XYZ when I've been in a terrible accident or I've
Mhm.
had something bad happen to me.
Mhm.
It's confronting the mortality of like, okay, well then that's when it should end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I mean, watching the show and seeing these characters who are younger than us
Mhm.
die also kind of,
Yeah.
it's like you feel like, oh, I'm so young, you know, nobody dies in their 20s, early 30s,
Mm.
but like people do every day, and
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
we've all got one foot in the grave, guys.
So Dr. Robbie walks through things with Helen and Jedhem. But now we are with Mel and Langdon, which again, my favorite duo. I really
Mhm.
I love the two of them together. I almost like I said, it's almost like her empathy kicks in and she's like, "Oh, this is a good connection. Should I cling to this person?" Not cling in like a codependent way, but cling in like when you go to a party.
Yeah, and you cling to the one person you know. Yes, absolutely.
That or, like, you meet one stranger, but the vibe is good, so you're like, "I'm following you all night, just so you know.
Yes, we're besties now. Fun fact.
Just so you know." And that's honestly, that's how I love to make friends. I just follow someone.
You imprint on someone like a sad little duckling, and if they allow you to do so, then you're like, yes, you are
Yes.
good. We will be friends.
And Taylor Dearden also pointed out in the same interview where she talked about the note from John Wells, she talks about how she thinks that Langdon has like desperately been trying to find someone to mentor, and he's been like laying like putting out seeds of like I could mentor you, and she's the first one to really like pick up on it, and so he
Mhm.
clings to her in that she is the one who really seems to thrive under his mentorship. And so Mel has this very unique perspective as somebody who's worked in the VA. So we know she's been in the VA for a hot minute. And I also, this is where I kind of want to talk about like the baby girlification of Mel King. Is that,
Baby girlification derogatory.
yeah, okay, yeah. And let me say, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, so baby girlification or baby girlism or whatever, baby girl is like calling someone like cute and wonderful and they can do no wrong and they're so innocent and sweet, right?
And so like it's kind of funny when you do it to grown men.
Yes. But when you do it to powerful female characters like Mel King, it is harmful, especially characters like Mel King with autism.
Yeah, who are not neurotypical.
Is that confirmed or is that just like the headcanon everyone has?
Taylor Dearden has said that so I think she's like ADHD is the consensus because Taylor Dearden has said that ADHD people don't realize how much connection there is in like symptoms between or the way it presents ADHD and autism.
I also wonder if, because it seems as if her sister has a much more, I don't know if the correct term is like severe, or
Mhm.
like an autism that like seems to affect her in a more
Yeah.
profound way, you know?
Yeah.
And like she obviously needs more care in those things. And so I almost wonder if, because of that, like did their parents kind of look at her sister and then be like, "Oh, Mel's fine." Like cuz she doesn't have all this going on, but really like Mel is not neurotypical. Like there's kind of nothing about her that
Yeah.
feels neurotypical.
Right.
No.
And the thing about Mel is that she and her sister, they're orphans, for lack of a better, I mean,
Hmm.
they're orphans. Both of their parents are dead. And she has been her sister's primary caregiver for a long time. And
Hmm.
I'm referencing a ton of interviews with Taylor Dearden. I'm sorry, I don't know which ones they are, but she has also said that it's for a lot longer than you would think. There's no definite time frame on it, but it's actually she's been her primary caregiver for a lot longer than you would think. And so I just want to sit for a moment and say that like Mel King has worked at the VA. She knows how to treat patients like Jack Abbott. Those are the kinds of people she helps at the VA. And
Yeah.
so to act like because she's autistic, she's so sweet and cute and doesn't understand blah blah blah, like that makes me so mad. And also like I don't know, there's so much to talk about there.
There's a huge difference for me for when people make like TikTok edits of like, oh, Mel King, our neurodivergent queen, versus
Oh my god, there was a Screen Rant article that said something about how like Mel King could never understand the complexities of Langdon's addiction, like she just wouldn't get it, and I'm
What?
like, I'm coming for you. Whoever wrote that, it's the most disrespectful piece of crap.
Because she didn't understand a couple of his jokes?
No, because she wouldn't understand the complexities of addiction because of her neurodivergence.
Well, no, because I was saying that, like, are they saying she wouldn't understand because we see her, like, not understanding things like jokes?
Are you sure it's Screen Rant? Because I only see 2 articles in Screen Rant.
Everyone's asking the wrong thing.
Yeah, that one. Oh, who wrote this? Do I know who wrote this? Alicia, I do not know who wrote this. Okay, fantastic. Because I know a couple of people who write in like in screen. I know a couple of people who write in
For
Screen
Screen Rant.
Rant or
Mhm.
for Screen Rant, and I'm like, oh shit! Please tell me it's not one of the good people I know. Oh, thank God.
We would have to bring them on the pod and we'll fight them.
It says, while I'm curious to see how Langdon interacts with the above characters next season, I'm most interested in seeing how Dr. Mel King responds when she learns the truth. Frankly, I'm worried about how she'll take it. In a very short amount of time, Mel bonded with Langdon, finding in him a mentor who appreciated and respected her skills and whose personality clicked with hers, which I sense doesn't happen often for Mel. She learned a lot from him, and he even learned a bit from her when he observed her interacting with the patient with autism. It's for that reason that I worry how Mel will react when she learns what happened with Langdon. There's a large chance that she'll be crushed by the news. It's not been explicitly confirmed, but the pit heavily implies that Mel is on the spectrum. It's why her emotions are so unguarded, especially her exuberance and enthusiasm. Several times throughout the pit season 1, more emotionally nuanced moments flummoxed Mel, and emotionally heavy moments hit her hard. She's an excellent doctor, but her emotional view of the world is more like a child's black and white binary. It's why we love her, but it also indicates she may not be able to process the complicated layers of where Langdon is at right now or who he is as a person.
I feel like this article is really over exaggerating the neurodivergency we see from Mel. When it's just she doesn't understand social cues. That's really her
That's
main
it,
thing.
and it's not that
Right.
she can't they're saying she struggles with emotional moments that they flummox her. That's bullshit. That's not true.
No, there are tons of times that we see her be very empathetic and very understanding. Like, I I think she will very much understand, and especially like coming from the VA, like I'm sure she has seen plenty of people who are struggling with addiction, and like
Yes.
to imply that, oh, she's not going to understand like where Langdon is coming from, and like, yeah, she might be a little bit disappointed and like sad that she made this connection with a person who then immediately left, but
Right.
I don't think she's gonna like be like, "Ooh, bad."
Or like, "Oh, I just can't understand. This is so," like, I'm at a loss for words, which sucks because 'cause I'm a podcaster. I'm like, "What a foul thing to say," and, like, tell me you don't understand neurodivergence without telling me because this person is clueless, and I will not say their name, and but, like, because 'cause I'm not saying anyone should go and send them anything or say anything to them. I just wanna point out that this is a perfect example of how wrong people get it.
Mhm.
And we do a disservice to taking this highly trained, incredibly skilled, very intelligent doctor, Melissa King, and acting like she just can't emotion, she just doesn't know how to do it. Like, shut up, man.
Everyone knows the peak representation of autism in a medical drama is House MD.
Oh. Ooh, I haven't heard that take. I like that take, though. I do like that take. I think that especially older people with autism, and I'm gonna say something that is based in no fact, and I have not Googled this, but I am willing to bet that older folks with autism probably have higher rates of drug addiction or alcoholism. I feel like that must be a thing. Again, God, I shouldn't say this, but, like, because they're self-medicating, right? I wonder if that's a thing.
I also feel like because, people talk a lot about like all these kids are getting diagnosed with autism now, and then there are like these tweets that are like, "Oh yeah, your neighbor who like has model trains in his basement, yeah, that guy's just regular." Like I think there's a lot of adults who have gone undiagnosed, just because of like we know more about autism now, and like it gets diagnosed more often. And I mean, I also think we've built a very unfriendly environment for autistic people. Like everything is like loud and flashing and like
Mhm,
screens everywhere all the time, and I think
mhm.
like it presents itself more now than it maybe used to. So, yeah, I also feel like a lot of older autistic people maybe have gone their entire life without the services and supports that they need. And
This is from the American Addiction Centers. It says, in general, research shows that people on the autism spectrum are less likely to engage in drinking and drug use behaviors that can lead to abuse and addiction. However, as discussed by Psychology Today, individuals with symptoms on the autistic spectrum who do use drugs or alcohol are at a higher risk of developing problems with substance abuse.
Huh.
Yeah. There is a higher percentage of people with autism spectrum disorder among those in treatment for substance abuse than there is among the general population. In the study, nearly 7% of people in addiction treatment were diagnosed with autism, as compared to the 1% of the general population.
Okay.
Go off, empathetic Camille. I got it. But like this baby girlification of Mel, in that, like, oh, she just, like, I just want to point out, like, when we say she misses social cues and things like that, it's she's missing the fact that when Langdon is asking her about, like, what made you choose the pit, she starts to give this longer answer, and he literally, like, he kind of is a little bit of a dick about it, and he does this multiple times to her, but then he gets better over the shift.
Mm-hmm.
Is that he kind of does this thing with his head, like, okay, and move it on, like, let's go, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go.
Kind of like get to the point, and it's like, well, she's getting to the point. She's getting to it the long way around.
And she's trying to bond with you. That's why she's giving you this story, is that she's trying to bond. And so when we say that she's autistic and she misses social cues, it's not that she doesn't understand emotion and complexities of addiction and things like that. It's that she's not picking up on the fact that he's giving her cues of, like, get to the point, Does anyone else have anything to say about baby girlification of Mel?
I love her, and she's baby girl in that I love her, but she's also competent as hell and should not be like infantilized.
Mm-hmm.
We should baby girl her the correct way. She's a girl boss.
Yeah, she's a girl boss. Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Sassy, moody, nasty. Yeah.
And then we get to go see Camille's favorite character, Santos.
Okay, I have so many thoughts about this. Camille having a lot of thoughts? Shocker. So here comes Santos, and without observing at all, she doesn't take a beat to, like, listen to what's being talked about, nothing. She interrupts and says, "Can I present my headache to you?" And he's like, "You're my headache, but sure." Langdon has no beef with Santos yet. If you actually, here's one thing that I will say. If there's anything that Patrick Ball excels at, it is face acting.
Mm.
He is so good at it. Because when he's like, yeah, sure, he's glad for a change of pace because Santos matches his pace. He has no issues with her yet. He turns to address her. He's genuinely curious. He is locked in. He kind of, like, crosses his arms, like he's ready to, like, think about this. And then she's like, I already treated the patient. And he's not happy about this.
Without presenting to me. And here's the thing. We find out later, Santos is a competent doctor. She knows what she's doing, but she's also an R1, right? She's an intern. She has to present anything she wants to do to a patient to either her attending or a resident of, like, higher up in the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
And she just keeps not doing it. And
Right.
the fact that she's getting lucky, and that for the most part, there's a couple times where
It shakes out.
it shakes out, especially, like, at the end of the series when she does, what is it, a boa? What the fuck's the thing called?
Raboa.
She does a roboa to help a dying patient, and Dr. Abbott comes by and he's like, listen, you should have never done that without permission, but you saved her life. Good job.
Yeah. That was really fucking awesome, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Now, but I want to point out, because I did Google this, interns cannot practice independently without supervision. You can't. It's a fact. You cannot do this. So it's not, I've seen a lot of people, I'm going to reference my comments section a lot in this podcast, simply because that's where I see a lot of discussion. It is the main place where I see discussion happening. And so a lot of people are like, yeah, but he was a dick about it. And I'm like, well, yes, he was a dick about it because she shouldn't have done it.
Right.
Like, but it's not like he's just being like, ooh, you're an intern, you have to present first. She literally has to present first. That is a liability issue for the hospital. She cannot just go and treat a patient. She has to present first. This is not like a suggested thing. It's a rule that she is breaking, and she's proud of it. And she's like, oh, so she spent time at the pain clinic. We hear her saying this as Langdon is focusing on other things. And in the background, you can hear her explaining she's very comfortable. She spent time at the pain clinic. Babe, it's great that you're comfortable. You still can't do it.
Yeah. This is, however, very good foreshadowing as to how she catches on to Langdon so quickly, is that because she's had experience in a pain clinic where she's definitely seen people with drug-seeking behavior,
Right.
she can immediately clock, here's some inconsistencies with medicine on Langdon cases. Here are some inconsistencies in his attitude and his behavior that match with patients who are taking drugs illicitly.
The situation is not Langdon trying to dunk on Santos, right? Like, this is take a shot every time Camille says that a character is empathetic, but I genuinely think that Langdon is an empathetic person. Is he a dick? Like, yeah, but I also think he's very empathetic. And so, like, his empathy presents in that he mirrors behavior. So, like, he's very gentle and soft with Mel. He's abrasive with Santos. He's teasing, but also very genuine with Dana. He's antagonistic with Garcia. Like, he meets your energy. Wherever you are, he's meeting that energy. Like, don't let me go down that rabbit hole because yeah, don't.
Can we all talk about Langdon for several hours? Crazy. Out of character.
Crazy.
And I was very quiet on that one because, like, I can't defend Santos for the practicing without presenting. I love her. She was wrong. I mean, she was correct in what she did. The treatment was correct. However,
next time she's not that lucky.
Right. So
she does the same thing again, and she's not that lucky next time. She almost kills someone. We have the worst injury to me is the e-scooter rider with a door to the face. Oh my God. The floating face, aka the Lefort 3 fracture. Also, wee woo, penis alert, Robert. There is a penis in this scene. Ding, 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 ding.
There is indeed a penis.
Camille, why are you looking? Because I didn't even notice.
I literally, when I was watching it with a family member, I said,
penis!
I went, penis! And then it moved on, and she went, oh, where? I missed it. Here's a little goof for you. Langdon's gown shifts between shots. Yay, there you go, Robert. I know you love a fuck up.
Again, throw the whole show away. Irredeemable.
This is the worst show in history because it got that one detail wrong. I think we have to stop the podcast now because now we are not covering a perfect show anymore.
Yeah, I've been removed from I can't stick with the story. I noticed that one and I can't do it anymore.
It's always so funny to me and also so terrible to me when people point out minuscule things that are like, they changed this slightly from the book, or like, this is slightly different than the scene 5 minutes ago. I'm like,
yes. Because guess what? Human people made the show, and
there's a goof in, I want to say it's episode 15, and I will point it out when it happens. I've had people messaging me
15.
saying that I should point it out because they're like, that is such a big mistake. It's not. It's really not. But when you have a show like this, every little tiny thing, people are like, oh, and I'm like, oh, come on. Robbie does a great job of allowing Langdon to take point on this and to handle this patient. He does this with Collins too, but like less so. He kind of gets involved more with Collins's patients. Does anybody have thoughts on why that might be?
It's because he's clocking that even if she isn't telling him, he's clocking that she is some level of uncomfortable, unwell.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to help out as much as he can, but also, Collins should probably tell him to fuck off.
It also may be some of their history, like he feels more comfortable, kind of.
Yeah, remember they used to fuck.
It also, and I mean, I don't want to accuse Robbie of anything. It also could be sexism. She's a woman and Langdon is a white man, so.
You heard it here first. Robbie is sexist, racist, disgusting. And this podcast is now over. I'm kidding.
I mean, I do think there are just some things that are so baked into our culture that, like,
you can't avoid it. You have to actively fight against certain. Yeah.
I mean, there may just be a part of him, like, growing up as a white man who, like, just sort of naturally feels like this woman of color is going to be less good at her job, even though he, like, knows that's not true, you know?
Yeah. we do have this moment in episode 1 where Robbie says that Langdon is his best resident.
Aren't we best
Mhm.
friends? None of this conversation keeps going on any longer.
So we also have these horrified looks when they lift the face. Ugh! I mean, a vibe. But Mel is horrified. Tim in the background, also a little horrified. And then, of course, Langdon and Garcia are thrilled.
Oh, of
They both
course.
have the biggest grins on their faces. How very Santos of them. So we also get a little bit of baby girlification of nurses. When we skip to this next scene,
Mm.
we have this elderly pizzeria owner and he's got a headlack, and Javati is helping him, and he says that she's a nurse. He assumes that she is a nurse. Why do we have this idea that nurses are somehow younger, less experienced baby girls? Like, and then it bothers me that she says, "I'm a student doctor," and he's like, "Oh, okay, like, I've gotta," and he doesn't say it exactly like that, but the way that he responds is almost defensive in a way that I don't like.
Yeah.
Like he's trying in his head, he's giving a compliment. In his head, he's like, "Oh, for a nurse, you're doing a great job,"
Mm,
which is, a backhanded compliment.
mhm.
Right.
Well, he says a discount for doctors and nurses, and she's like, "I'm a student doctor."
He's trying to put it in mind as a compliment. He's trying to be like, "Oh, no, no, hey, I can't forget the nurses too." And then when she said she's a student doctor,
He's a little defensive.
he's a little defensive because in his brain, he's like, "Well, I said it's a 10% discount for doctors and nurses. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you weren't a nurse, but like, you still get the 10% discount."
And he's like, "I wasn't saying," like, in my head, the way he says it is almost like he's like, "Well, I wasn't saying," like, and I'm like, "Well, I mean, you pointed at her, but sure."
Yeah.
But he's like, "Oh, I have a head injury," or whatever it is that he says. And I'm like, "You don't have to be defensive, just say sorry. It's okay. You could just say, 'Oh, I'm so sorry.'"
Men, even good men, have ideas of women in workforces.
Mm.
And so when they're presented with an idea,
Secretarial.
Yeah, again, some things are just so baked into the culture that, like, you have to actively fight against them.
yeah,
Mhm.
even for quote unquote good men. And so when he's told, like, "Oh, actually, I'm a higher position than you originally thought," he kind of has to rearrange his brain a little bit to be like, "Oh, okay." Because, men, if there's something men hate, it's a woman with power.
I wonder what he would have said if it were Mohan and Javati instead of McKay and
Mm,
Javati. I
Mm,
think that plays into it subconsciously as well, especially because, like, we have this young Desi girl.
right.
There's a scene later in the season where we have, like, 3 Desi women together. We've got Mohan and Javati and the influencer patient. Supriya Ganesh has talked about how powerful it was to just have 3 Desi women in a scene together
Mhm.
and how cool that was, and so I wonder, again, if it had been another doctor of color with Javati, if that man would have assumed she was a nurse.
'Cause it's like, is it an age thing? Is it a race thing? Is it an all of the above? Yeah.
Right. And I again, like, I wanna point out, we're not saying that any of this is malicious intentionally. There
Mhm.
are just inherent biases that even people of color have against.
Microaggressions.
Yeah, and they're just learned by, like, the world around us. Like, so I this isn't just like the baby girlification of Javati, this is baby girlification of nurses. Because she's in training, and so he specifically assumes she's a nurse, and I'm like, "Bro, mm-mm." Like, put some respect on nurses.
For
They're
sure.
incredible.
right.
And it's not just like, "Oh, doctors are, like, crème de la crème," you know?
Also,
Like,
'cause, like, Dana is top of the list of people in this hospital I would trust with my life.
yeah.
Absolutely.
If you guys had to pick 2 doctors to treat you at the pit, who would it be?
Honestly, even though he's a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I Dr. Langdon knows his shit. And honestly, Langdon and Mel,
I was gonna say the same thing.
I
Yeah.
would get good care. I would get good care with their combo.
I would emotionally feel sound and heard. I think they do a good job of listening. I mean, I think Langdon's working on it, obviously, but I think that Mel listens very well, which is something I value a lot. And then I think Langdon is just incredible. He's a great doctor.
Right.
I'm gonna pick Collins and Mel because I support women.
Hmm.
Oh,
And
well, fuck us then.
no, it was either that or Robbie and Mel, just because I think Mel definitely. I think she would be very kind to me, and I would appreciate that. And then I just think, Collins knows her stuff. Like she knows what's up, and if she wasn't like even actively having a miscarriage, she's still a great doctor. And so I think like on a good day, she would be an even better doctor.
Absolutely. We find out about McKay. She has an 11-year-old son who's named Harrison. Terrible name.
Another white people name.
No, my note says the white people names keep white peopling. I am a white people, okay?
We find out that it must have been difficult to be a young mother. Uh, so McKay's like in her 40s and Harrison's
Yeah.
11.
Which makes she's 42. She was 31. And so I'm like, now, to be fair, I'm 30 years old. And if I got pregnant today, it would be a teen pregnancy. However, I love that Giovanni is like, oh, you were a young mother. And I'm like, girl, she was 31.
When she had her kid, she was 10 plus years older than you currently are.
Yeah.
Now that I'm 27, I think often of that moment from Broad City where she's like, I'm 27 years old. What am I, a child bride? Like, I am a child, and if I had a child, it would also be a teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like, so yes, McKay was a young mother.
Yeah. We get this wonderful, like, Robert, we're going to have to insert the audio because I think the copyright laws are like, as long as you are using it for discussion purposes, you can use the audio. So we're going to have to put her laugh in here because we get the WMMV scale, which is the what makes Mateo vomit scale.
Mm.
And Giovanni has the most amazing. I'm so obsessed.
God forbid a girl has a little crush. Like, fuck.
Oh my god, he's so cute and she's so cute. And like I think there are plenty of people who don't really like Giovanni. I really like Giovanni. She's doing great. Can you imagine going through all of this at 20?
The only character you should hate in this show is
It's
Doug
Doug
Driscoll.
Driscoll. Yeah.
I'm Gloria a little bit. I hate Gloria.
Gloria is a complicated character because like she has to deal with like the shareholders and whatever, but also she appreciates in quotes. She also appreciates and understands that the pit is working as hard as they can.
Yeah.
The second she was like, we can't pay nurses a living wage, I was like, get out of here.
Straight to jail. So this is one of the most relatable plot points to me. Having a big fat crush on Mateo and not knowing how to act about it.
Yeah.
What you do is you just stop having a crush.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You just lock in and just get over it.
I am so mean to people when I think they're cute. And I'm so sorry to everyone I'm mean to.
Oh, that's why you're mean to me? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Camille's never been mean to me, so that's how I know she doesn't find me hot.
Yeah, I was gonna be like,
I live
Camille's
with that
so
every
nice
day.
to us. I'm like, Camille's so nice to us. Damn, okay, I guess we're ugly. We also get, hey, frequent recurring character, Myrna.
We get our first frequent flyer.
What an icon.
Yeah. Between Myrna and Earl, who do you like more?
Oh, wow. What a great question.
Myrna's whole bit is being, like, hey, Fruitcake, can you unlock
Horny on Main?
Yeah, horny on Main. Hey, Fruitcake, can you unlock my handcuffs? Hey, Dana, that guy that they sucker punched, if they find him, I'll kill him. Meanwhile, Earl's thing is just like, hey, I want a sandwich.
Earl's thing is asking every single person he comes across for a sandwich. Like, I think in this episode alone, I think he asked 3 separate people for a sandwich.
And all 3 of them give him one. I'm like, how many fucking sandwiches is this man eating?
So, okay, but I love that they are like plot tools. Like, we do actually, they do play an important role in some places. And I'll point it out as we go. But one thing I wanted to say is that actually the actress that plays Myrna, I think it's like one of her younger relatives has reached out to me and just been like, I just want you to know she's just as funny in real life. Now we're back in Trauma, and we hit on something that, again, is another similarity between Santos and Langdon. Langdon has nicknames for people. So Edwina Scissorhands for Dr. Garcia. And there's a big difference for me So I am building my Langdon apologist case here. Do either of you want to try to defend Santos's nicknames? I know you did a little bit last week, but
I can't really defend the Javati one, especially because she very intentionally is like, no, I don't like it. I do think the Whitaker one is kind of cute, and she gives him the nickname after they've already sort of had this positive interaction. So that one I think is a little less. I think she's coming on a little strong.
I will say that Santos and Whitaker is growing on me the more I'm like focusing in while watching.
Hmm.
So it's not so harsh to me. I think the big difference here is that when Langdon gives someone a nickname, they play back. He says Edwina Scissorhands and Garcia immediately says ER Ken. Like they're playing with each other. And so nobody plays back with Santos until Langdon does at the very end of the season. Because he gives her a nickname. He calls her Bright Spark, which is basically the equivalent of being like, okay, genius. Like, nice job, genius. Bright Spark is a sarcastic, like, oh yeah, you're a real bright spark, you know?
Santos just needs to find her ER nemesis, and I think she's looking for that.
Right.
And maybe her ER nemesis is Javati, but it happens in not a fun way. The way that like Garcia
There's a
and
power
Santos
imbalance
or in
there.
Langdon
There's
have.
also just like an experience imbalance there.
Yeah.
I saw a meme on the Pit Reddit that was like, patient comes in with a slight cough, fully alert. Santos, oh my god, can I give him a chest tube? Or not? Can I intubate him?
Yeah. I also kind of think Javati is probably not the one to give a nickname to anyway, because she's like so defensive and she's so like on alert for these like slights against her. Like she kind of comes in, I think, feeling like, everyone's going to look down on me and everyone's going to think that I'm like too young and I shouldn't be here. And so she's like very prepared to defend herself. So I don't know that Santos was necessarily in the wrong to like give her a nickname, because it just kind of seems like that's her thing. Like that's what she wants to do. Like she wants to kind of connect with people in this like playful sort of bully-y way.
Mhm.
And Santos is wrong for kind of doubling down, but I don't know that like the coming up with the nicknames is necessarily like Santos is a horrible person, you know?
I love to baby girl Langdon. I want everyone to hear me saying I understand that he and Santos are incredibly similar. Like I
Oh
get
yeah.
that. I see it. I think I have this note for like the next episode, but I think one of the things is that we don't see them doing it at the same time. They're never being assholes at the same time until like the very end of the season. But at that point, we've lost trust in Langdon and we're
Mhm.
sympathetic towards Santos a little bit more. And so it doesn't do much justice. Like early in the season, we don't see them doing the same things at the same time.
Right.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they could have built a rapport.
And I do think a lot with Santos about like what would we be more sympathetic towards if she was a man? Like are there
Yes.
things that she does that would come off more favorably like in the eyes of the people watching if she was a white man?
Right. I will always, and this only applies to me when it's a fictional character, right? If it's a real person, no. But I will always, with my whole chest, defend a pretty white boy character. Like, let's be clear, they have to be fictional, but I'm like, I will go to the grave defending Langdon unless he does something egregious. I mean, to be fair, he kind of already has, but
And see, I support women's rights and wrongs, so I'm like I will go to bat for the bitchiest female character
mm,
because I love her.
mm.
And I, again, love when a woman is a little bit mean to me. So,
So Santos is enjoying watching Garcia's rapport with Langdon, but to me it doesn't come across that she's like, "Oh, this relationship is fun to watch." She thinks it's fun to watch someone push back against Langdon because now
mhm.
she's annoyed with Langdon and Langdon's annoyed with her. We are off on the wrong foot. Langdon does not give her a second chance. Santos wants to do the crike. Langdon benches her. This is punishment. This, unfortunately, like I will fault him for this. He should not do that. In this very moment, like it's only been a couple minutes since
Mhm.
this insubordination has happened, so I understand. The problem is that he continues to bench her consistently throughout the entire season from this point on. But this is the first time.
Because if you like, I mean, I understand, you don't want to reward bad behavior, but if you don't give her the opportunity to do things under your watchful eye, then she's just going to continue to go and do things behind your back.
We also find out later in the season they have a little bit of a spat in front of another night shift doctor that I can't remember the name of right now. I'm so sorry. But they have a little spat, and this doctor clarifies that it is Langdon's job to teach. So it's unfortunate because she does want to learn. It's not just that she's like, I want to get my hands dirty and act like everyone's a cadaver. She wants to learn. She's never done one and she wants to do one, and she should be allowed to do one. But to be fair, Mel has also never done one except for in the cadaver lab, like she says. And
Right.
she is more advanced in her career. So if you have to pick one of them to do it, I mean, Mel needs to learn too. So Santos specifically asks if she can do it
Hmm.
and is told no. She's shut down really quickly. One of my favorite little jokes of the season is blink and you miss it. For Crike's sake,
Oh, so good.
so good. I love that. And the way he literally like stretches out to make eye contact when he says for Crike's sake, I'm like, he knows that's a good one. He knows he wants to see that eye roll.
Oh, yeah.
Kudos to Sasha Metz. She does an incredible job playing Garcia. She just like oozes surgeon.
My favorite interaction is when Robbie accidentally throws out his back while trying to lift a patient, and she calls him viejito, which means old in Spanish.
Te estás poniendo viejo.
Te
You're
estás
getting
poniendo
old.
viejo. Yeah.
But I reached out to a friend because I was like, the one thing I will fault HBO for is that different languages, including sign language, are not subtitled in this show, which is really unfortunate. Because that's
Yeah.
a good joke later on. Te estás poniendo viejo is you're getting old, but it's not subtitled. So if you don't speak Spanish, you wouldn't have. I had to ask a friend. I was like, can you tell me what she says? So Robbie also says during this trauma scene that if this was a crike that needed to happen in seconds, you could use a tin blade, your finger, and a bougie. Put that in your back pocket. That will happen later in the season.
Mm.
Love it. Santos bumps Garcia, who doesn't mind. It's totally fine. And Langdon is like, gay?
Garcia is so me because I would antagonize the white man all day long, and then the pretty girl bumps into me, and I'd be like, "It's okay, beautiful."
We go back to Nick Bradley. His head CT is normal, but we find out that there is fentanyl in his system and his pupils are now blown. If you watch Mohan as she is checking his eyes, she very, very slightly shakes her head.
What does it mean when they say his pupils are blown? Because I don't know.
So pinpoint pupils,
They're like tiny,
tiny, and then blown is like fully dilated.
massive. Okay, okay.
So that indicates brainstem death. Robbie starts this very long process of explaining to John and Lily Bradley that Nick is brain dead, and his criticism of, quote, slow-mo all season long is completely invalidated by the lengths that he goes to for Nick Bradley.
Yeah, it's very interesting how much time he takes with like the family of patients who are dying versus like these criticisms of Mohan, who takes a lot of time with like patients who are alive.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like there's a place for both.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
people can be treated as people even if they're
Yeah.
not going through like the loss of someone,
And I think that maybe Robbie is more sensitive to people who are losing someone because he is thinking consistently about having lost someone
Yeah,
and wishing he had more
very
time
true.
to handle that, even maybe subconsciously recognizing that he needed more time. I did want to, like, I have questions about fentanyl myself, so I did want to do a little research. So here are some not so fun facts about fentanyl. Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, which is insane. It is a perfectly legitimate painkiller that is used frequently in medicine. You will hear them prescribe it to patients throughout the season, or when they're intubating, or when they have a trauma come in, they call it Fent. It is a perfectly legitimate painkiller that is used. I from what I can tell, it is used a lot with like cancer patients. And I wanted to know why we hear about fentanyl overdoses like consistently now. So fentanyl is mixed into illicit drugs, which are drugs that are created illegally and not prescribed. And they do that to increase the potency of the drug or the high from the drug. It's also highly addictive and it's really cheap. So when you are making drugs to sell illicit, it ensures return customers because they will get super, super addicted. But again, it's 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. So it is incredibly easy to overdose on.
Just to give an idea how easy it is, fentanyl is like morphine, for example, or I don't know about other medicine. Other medicines are measured in milligrams, I believe, right? Fet-
Milligrams.
Fentanyl is measured in micrograms or 1/100th of a milligram, I believe, right?
Mhm.
Whew.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's either 1/100th or 1/10th. Either I think it's 1/100th. Either way, yes, a very, very small amount of fentanyl is very powerful.
Yeah.
And drug dealers on the streets, just because they want to get their shit bought and to have their clientele get more addicted, throw it in willy nilly.
A microgram is 1/1000th of a milligram.
Oh, even worse.
So to put it in like layman's terms, one of my cats is allergic to chicken. Okay. Like any chicken and she will break out. And so I have to make sure that the food that she eats has no chicken byproduct, nothing. If you go to the store, like this is how I will compare fentanyl on the street in drugs to cat food. Okay. Go to your local grocery store and start turning the cat food around and it'll be like it's tuna, it's salmon, whatever. Chicken is going to be like one of the second ingredients on almost every single thing you will find, even if it's not chicken flavored, because it's a cheap filler, which is what fentanyl is for drug dealers on the street. But because it's also highly addictive, people will come back if
Mhm.
they're not dead. The problem is people who take fentanyl like legitimately for pain, like cancer patients, their their tolerance for it is different because they can build up a tolerance and things like that. People who are just trying to take a Xanax and it has fentanyl in it have no tolerance for fentanyl. And that's why
Mhm.
you see so many overdoses. So like for me, I was sitting here going like obviously we see tons and tons of overdoses from fentanyl, but I was sitting here going, okay, but like why? Like it doesn't make any sense. Why is there fentanyl in everything? And that's why.
Mhm.
Is because it increases the high, so it's a more pleasurable experience for people with addiction issues. It's highly addictive and it's cheap. So long as there's not too much, but like you have to sit here and think, okay, but again, this is being made on the streets. This is not actually being made by people in a lab. Fentanyl is also fully synthetic, so it is completely man-made. So just a little info for you there. Honestly, and like not we're not doctors, we're not giving you medical advice, but God, if you need help sleeping, I love ZQuil.
I love a good melatonin gummy.
Yeah, and, like, for me, melatonin doesn't do quite much, but, like, ZzzQuil's great, guys. If you need to sleep after taking Adderall and whatever, like, come on, there are you please, please, please don't go buy Xanax off the street, please, which is what we find out, is what has happened with Nick. And we'll find that out next episode with Jenna, the girl that he was studying with. So Nick's dad, John, asks if Nick can hear them.
Probably not. He's brain dead.
Well, Robbie says we're never quite sure, but I just listened to, and I have recommended to a bunch of people, and I'm now recommending to everyone that can hear my voice. There's a podcast called Blink, and it's the story of Jacob Handel, who was suffering with locked in syndrome because of a disease. And it is very interesting because all of his care providers, the nurses, everybody, they would sit around and be like, "Oh, he's brain dead. Like it's fine. He can't hear us." But he heard everything. He heard absolutely everything that everybody was saying. He was fully aware of everything, but he had locked in syndrome, so he could not communicate whatsoever. And his tests were actually indicating brainstem death,
Hmm.
but he was 100% still there. So terrifying. I know, Mal, I wish you guys could see Mal's face. She's horrified right now,
New fear unlocked.
which is why I have an advanced care directive. Oh, God. Highly recommend that podcast. Love it, love it, love it. Dana asks if Nick is going to make it, and Robbie shakes his head. So Robbie knows right now that Nick is not going to make it. However, we are going to continue to try to treat him for 6 to 7 more hours.
And it's a weird choice considering how we need beds in the ER. Like,
That's a constant reoccurring theme in this show where like, hey, empty out the I think it's in like 2 or 3 episodes from now that they have a meeting where he's like, "Hey, if they don't need to be here, discharge them."
Mhm.
yeah, and perhaps it's a little bit heartless because, like, obviously these are parents who are losing their 19-year-old son, and that's, like, unthinkably tragic.
Yeah.
But also, like, prolonging this experience is, I don't think it's helpful to anyone. Like, I think
Right.
the parents need to know, like, because somebody, is it with Dana? I think it's with Dana. They have a conversation, and he's like, "These parents need hope," and it's like, "Yeah, but it's false hope. Like,
Mhm.
it's not that, it doesn't do anyone any good."
Yeah, so put a pin in that because that's next episode, we'll talk about
Oh,
that. That's
sorry.
Langdon. No, it's okay. No, it's totally fine. Put a pin in that, though, because we will come back to that next week. We are gonna talk about that's Langdon and Dana have a conversation about exactly that. We get the first name drop for Jake. Who's Jake?
Jake's will find out.
Moving
Hey,
on.
back to Mr. Spencer. He's dying. He's dying. You guys should let him go. He's dying. No, why are you asking to intubate him? Why? No. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His children, specifically Helen, is very much adamant that he just needs time and he can get better.
They have a mentality that you can kind of agree with out of context where they're like, "Oh, he's a tough son of a bitch who never give up on us, so we won't give up on him."
Mhm.
However, if you apply the context, that argument is moot because he is 80 something years old with fluid in his chest, not responding well to the antibiotics. Here's the thing, because they keep talking about, like, oh, could he get better? And Dr. Robbie says he could, dot, dot, dot. Here's the thing, the threshold for what better is going to mean, especially for an elderly patient who's already living a low quality of life because of his
Mhm.
age and his
Yeah, I mean, he's
illnesses.
living in a care home. He's obviously very confused. Like,
The man is demented.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, well, and like we know what ultimately happens to him, but God forbid he had a heart attack right now and we ignored his directive and we followed what you said and we, resuscitated him, CPR, we intubated him, blah, 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 blah. His new threshold for what better is will be significantly less than when he was first brought into the hospital, even if everything goes correctly.
Right.
Right.
And I want to point out the difference between certain things with like elderly patients and younger patients. Like, yes, you can heal from pneumonia when you're younger, but you have to think about like how many people break their hip and then die when they're older.
Right.
And also, did you like, I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if the listeners know this. I'm sure quite a few people do, but like a UTI can present as like psychosis in an elderly patient.
Hmm.
Like, they will hallucinate, things get just kooky crazy out of control, and it just turns out it's just a UTI. Treat the UTI and they'll be okay. But, like, things present differently with age. Certain things you can come back from as a young person, but that's because you have a body that is not necessarily or not typically seen as, like, quote, unquote, "failing." But when you have I mean, I love a metaphor. I'm ADHD, so I love a metaphor. Think about you have a really, really old car and the transmission goes out. You could replace the transmission, yeah, but, like, is it worth it with all
Yeah.
the other it's a very old car.
You can keep replacing all the parts, but then you inevitably end up with a ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like both of my mom's parents have passed now, and they both like went to the hospital with something that like would have been fine in a young person, but because they were in their 80s, ultimately they ended up, passing from something that like didn't necessarily seem like a huge deal like to someone like me in my 20s.
But again, the most humane thing that Dr. Robert keeps offering, and inevitably what happens, is letting their father pass peacefully.
Mhm.
I actually think we have the right idea with dogs. And it's like kind of horrible to talk about a person that way, but also, is it? Like, why are we more humane to our pets? Like, when they are suffering and when they have kind of reached the end, like, why are we so willing to put a dog down, but not willing to consider that for a person?
We should totally have an extra episode about Dr. Kevorkian and euthanasia.
Who's that?
So Dr. Kevorkian was a doctor. He passed away a while now, like 2011, 2012, something like that, who was, he's a pathologist. and he was championing the right for terminal patients' right to die by physician-assisted suicide. And he had a quote of like, "Dying is not a crime." And I think, and in part because of his efforts, I think it's like 5 states in the United States, 6 states, something like that, that have right via physician-assisted suicide if you are terminally ill.
There's such a moral conundrum there. We could definitely have a discussion about that for
It's
sure.
not exactly the same ideology of like, "Oh, he's an elderly patient, we're just going to let him pass peacefully." Like, there's a huge difference of like, I'm terminally ill, they're giving me, a
I'm
year to live.
actively choosing.
I'm actively choosing to end my life now with the help of a doctor.
Hmm.
There's a huge difference, but this is something I think we could also still talk about.
So Robbie wants to harass Collins a little bit more, but he gets interrupted. And Collins is a tough nut to crack. This cop starts flirting with her, but she
Because I have problems with some age gaps in this show, and she's like, "Where's that energy for Collins and Robbie?" Here's my problem with that. I don't know how old they are.
I do.
How old are they?
Robbie is in his 50s. It's
Yeah,
not specified. Robbie is in his 50s and Collins is 40 years old. Do you want to know how old Langdon is? I got an answer for you.
20 something, I presume.
Langdon is 32, Mel is 28.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. When you're in your 40s and your 50s and you date briefly, that's fine. That's whatever. I don't care so much about that kind of age difference. That age difference means a lot less to me when you are an older, significantly older person, as opposed to if you ask me, like, hey, what do I think about a 20-year-old dating an 18-year-old? I'd be like, jail.
But here's the problem that I have with Collins and Robbie is the power imbalance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
There's a power imbalance there. They don't act professionally with
Very
each
true.
other. I'm not crazy about the ship.
Neither
Do
am
I
I.
like them as friends? I like them as friends a lot.
I like them as begrudging allies.
Yeah.
I also kind of think dating people in the workplace not the best idea.
No, no, it's not. I mean, imagine imagine going to work and then coming back and you want to complain about your coworker, but your coworker is the person you're dating.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes. My attending, he's such a bitch.
But
Oh. That's me. Wait a minute.
but no, I think, and it's mainly, and it's been off mic jokes of like where I'm like, any shipping ideology the fandom has of Langdon and Mel, I'm like, stay away from her, get a job, look, don't touch her. And then you're pointing out to me that he's 32 and she's 28. And then also the next thing y'all pointed out to me when I brought this up was like, oh, I don't have a problem with committing adultery because Langdon is married. I have a problem with the age gap.
The age gap that's like 4 years, but
Yeah. Which is
When we talk about ships, I ship Langdon and Mel in like a platonic, like soulmates kind of a way.
yeah.
I don't want there to be romance, but I just
Yeah.
posted a meme on my story that's like my pronouns. It's a screenshot of the two of them, and it says my pronouns are we, us, because we're doing this together. Hold my hand. Like,
yeah, I just kind of hope that there's not romance in this show really at all.
I think I will allow it for Javati and Mateo.
Yeah. Speaking of Javati, it looks like she's having fun. McKay's a great introducer to the pit. She's incredibly warm, understanding. Wait, is that an ankle monitor?
That's ridiculous cuz like I have a work focus set up on my iPhone, where I don't get like certain notifications from like social media while I'm at work, because if I start getting Instagram notifications, then I want to spend time on Instagram instead of doing work. So this is my focus for myself. And even that is pretty good about like turning off when I mean it's set up to where I have to like cross the street to turn off the focus.
But she's not leaving the hospital. She's in the hospital the entire time.
I'm just like, it's kind of ridiculous that my iPhone has better location radius services, I guess, than the ankle monitor.
I feel like that's research we could do in for another episode because I feel like, it's not uncommon. I don't want to say like it's an abundancy, but it's not uncommon for people with a past to be working in a hospital. And it's just because like they improved upon themselves and they, went through whatever they went through. And they're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to become a ER doctor.
I think those people are very well suited to care for patients. They come in with their
Mhm.
perspective. It is also the same. I feel the same way about healthcare providers of color. It's not that like when we talk about DEI, it's not that we're saying someone should get a job over you because of the color of their skin or their circumstance. We're saying that we need to give opportunities to people who represent the patients, the people that they serve, because especially when you see Mohan with her sickle cell patient. Sickle cell is mostly in Black people.
It's something like what, 80% of sickle cell patients present as Black people or people of color? Something like that?
I don't know. But to have providers of color is just so incredibly important because we have to represent the people who are being cared for. If they don't feel represented, they won't feel heard. And also, lived experience is a great teacher.
Right.
Sickle cell disease affects about 100,000 people in the United States. More than 90% are non Hispanic, Black, or African American, and an estimated 3 to
Whoa.
9% are Hispanic or Latino. So, yeah, it is mainly people of color that this disease affects.
Noah Wiley has actually talked about why that was important for them to have a sickle cell patient because it affects Black people so disproportionately.
Yeah.
So my note here is Mel and Langdon, Langdon and Mel.
He's so gentle. Mel wants to open up, but their doctor's working in an ER, so they kind of have to work in an ER.
Yeah, and he's being so gentle, so understanding with her. We're seeing the first instance of this recurring theme of Langdon checking in with Mel. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? Are you okay? You good? Which I'm obsessed with. But we get that first, and she is so open with him that she's like, oh yeah, I just get overwhelmed and it looks like I can't do something, and then I get emotional, and then I cry, and you can't cry in front of your patients because who wants to see their doctor cry? And he's like, I get it, and she's like, thanks, but she appreciates that he is trying to relate, but she's like, yeah, but for me it's a little bit more than that.
And you know what? She's so real for that because I too cry when I get frustrated
Yeah.
and
I
can't
too
do
cry.
something. I too have cried before.
I've cried at least once, maybe perhaps even twice. Earl! Look who's there. Earl. Earl's there for fucking Sandwich.
Earl, my
And we love
guy.
him.
Yeah, we love you, Hansford Prince.
Yes.
Hansford is the actor that plays Earl, and we adore him. We do. He's great. He is so supportive of the fandom and the fans, and I'm just obsessed. I love it.
I need to ask because I know I asked this to you way before when I was first watching it. Is his name Earl a joke about the Earl of Sandwich?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
It's too much of a coincidence for him to be named Earl, and his whole gimmick is he always wants a sandwich.
No, that was my first thought as well. So it's gotta be.
What is Earl of Sandwich?
Earl of Sandwich is allegedly the man who, he was an earl in some country in Europe, I guess, who was like, I don't want to have to put down my cards while I'm playing this card game. So if the chef could make up a thing that I could eat with only one hand, and the story goes that the chef made just put meat and cheese and shit between two pieces of bread and was like, here is the sandwich, and he's like, this is delectable, I shall name it after myself, the Earl of Sandwich, I shall name it a sandwich.
Oh, is that real?
It's a tale. It's a myth tale. There probably is some credibility to it, TM, but it's one of those things.
Yeah, because it's just a real title. Because there's a town in Kent called Sandwich, and so you're the Earl of Sandwich.
Whether or not he's actually the reason why we have the sandwich as we know it today, and also the ideology of putting meat, cheese, and stuff in between slices of bread or pieces of bread or whatever is significantly older than the Earl of Sandwich. We just get, I guess, the name Sandwich from that. But Earl is there. We love him. He wants his sandwich. Again, hey, no egg salad.
Apparently, it was the fourth Earl of Sandwich, John Montague, who allegedly created the sandwich.
Whitaker also steals a sandwich for himself because he's unhoused. He just wants, I love the jokes you put here. He's there for a fucking sandwich too, man. Gotta get that bread.
But yeah, we do, like I was saying, we use these little recurring characters, these frequent flyers, to build rapport with everybody, but also to hint at things. So we see Whitaker stealing a sandwich and putting it in his pocket because He has no money. He's living in the hospital, and we don't find that out until the end of the season, but if you watch through the season, there are hints, and this is one of them. This
Do
is
we think that Whitaker is pro egg salad? Because like Earl is not, or Earl will not eat egg salad, and I just want to say justice for egg salad because
I
that
love
is
egg
got to
salad.
be one of my favorite sandwiches. Hard boiled eggs, one of my top 10 favorite foods. I love egg salad.
Egg salad on toasted bread. Oh my god.
Yes.
The joke sets itself up wonderfully because I was about to say egg salad is such white people shit.
Yeah. Well, we are in fact white
Um,
people.
we are who we are, as Kesha says.
I've had an egg salad and I was like, this is fine.
I
This
have
is
an egg
fine.
salad sandwich in my fridge for after this. I want you to know that.
I have leftover Chinese food in my fridge after this.
Delicious.
So, Mohan is looking for quick ones. She is staring up at the board, and this is one of those brief moments in the season where her politeness cracks a little bit, but it's so valid of her because she's saying, Dana's saying, he's having a hard day. It's the anniversary of Doc Adamson's death. And Mohan says, that's sad. It's still no reason to take it out on me, though. And I'm like, go
And she's right.
off. You're so right. And she gets shut down for it with like a steely look, but like it's so true. That's not a bitchy thing to say. It's very accurate. Everybody else is allowing him to be like pissy.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's right.
Whitaker comes up and apologizes for the funky music to Mohan. And then she's like, you know what? Nobody even remembers it. And if we didn't laugh, we'd cry. And then Collins walks by and calls him funky music. And this is how you properly banter Santos.
What's a better nickname, Funky Music or Huckleberry?
Huckleberry.
But I'm saying, what's the difference in them calling him funky music for something embarrassing that happened and Santos calling Javadi Crash?
Because Javadi says, please stop doing it.
Right. But I'm saying, like, initially. I've already said, like, Santos doubling down on the Crash nickname is not great. But, like, initially calling her Crash, I feel like, is the same as them calling him funky music. Like,
they also call him Funky Music only once. So it's like, that's it. Joke started, ended, done.
I think the difference is intention.
Yeah.
And also the fact that before the Crash nickname, she specifically has given her a hard time in front, like behind her back, has made bets that she won't make it through the shift and med student down. And so the intention is set and is clear to everyone. And then here, they're just teasing him.
Yeah.
It's lighthearted. It was an awkward moment. It was an awkward moment in a very serious situation rather than someone passing out. Like, I can't blame her for that. I don't know. So we get this unhoused patient comes in. Fun fact, Robert, they start to cut off his clothes and they're all like, oh, the smell. But if you watch Collins's face, she's like, oh, she has to be all up in his business. A heightened sense of smell is a pregnancy symptom, which is why pregnant women are so like, oh, they're disgusted by certain things that other people are like, what's the big deal? It's because a heightened sense of smell is a pregnancy symptom. So, rats!
Rats in the ER! Rats!
Oh my gosh, I just have to say, the way that Whitaker shrugs when he goes, the patient tested positive for rats. Like, I love it. I think it's adorable. And I love him. Also, okay, I don't know, is this just a me thing? Have you ever smelled someone who's got a bit of like a BO situation and the smell is like sharp?
Yep.
I have been to both concerts and card game shops in the past couple weeks. I can atoot that yes.
You can atoot?
Astute. I can say that yes, that is accurate. So sometimes people will just have a very sharp BO, and it's like, brother, why didn't you shower before coming to this?
And so, like, I understand that this unhoused man, it is not his fault that he smells. He probably does not have access to a shower. This poor guy probably smells so sharp.
We then get cut back to everyone dealing with the little kid who is
Sleepy Boy Tyler.
And we are like, hey, he accidentally consumed a marijuana gummy.
Or many marijuana gummies. We don't know how many.
We don't know. There's a couple things where the mom is like, oh, so because of this, I just like, are there any long-term effects? And they're like, we don't have studies, and it's mainly Yeah, who the fuck is gonna do a research study of, like, how does marijuana gummies affect 4-year-olds? Hey.
And, like, anybody who's ever asked their physician about the effects of marijuana knows that they really can't say anything to you. It is not, like, legal, like, federally, and so it's one of those things where they really do struggle to get research and things like that, and they
Mhm.
also just, like, legally can't, even if they did have it, they can't really say it because they can't encourage you to use it and they can't discourage it, so they're kind of just like, "I'm, just, out here and, say
Mhm.
things."
Yeah,
And
and the mom is like, "Oh, so because of this, you don't know, but so, like, he could develop long-term mental disabilities, he could develop autism," and Mel personally takes offense to that because she's like, there is no correlation, there's no study, there's no evidence that this will be, like, the case."
she's so quick to say it. She interrupts this woman. That is not a very Mel thing to do, but she does interrupt this woman and say, "There are no studies indicating that." Like,
Well, because I'm
there's no evidence
sure
for that.
with the influx of people who are like, "Oh, vaccines cause autism," as if like having a child with autism is worse than having a child who is dead because of the measles. Like, I'm sure this is an argument that Mel has had before, and so I think she's very sensitive to.
She's also very sensitive to the fact that people think that autism is like an illness. It's not. It's not some ugly side effect of something.
Mhm.
No, no, it's
It's
not.
just a fact. Like I have depression and ADHD and anxiety. It's just a
Mhm.
behavioral thing.
It's life.
Yeah. And so to act like it would hinder her son in any way, but all that to say, like, Mel clearly does not like that. Langdon picks up on the fact that Mel does not like that. But we very quickly have Kiara walking in.
Yeah, because it's a controlled substance, we need to report this to, Child Protective Services, I believe is what it's called, and also potentially the police, which the mother and the father don't like. They get into an argument about it, and Dr. Robbie comes in and he's like, "Listen, this is what's going to happen. We're mandated reporters. We have to say, nobody's going to take away your kid, etc. XYZ." It is quite wild to me when the "we're mandated reporters" thing comes in because it
But
Dr. Robbie's
only when
kind of
I feel like it.
yeah, he's kind of pick and choosy about it, where he's like, "Oh, we're not going to report this teenage boy who's potentially going to hurt all these girls on a list."
I do wonder if it's different with David though, because David is 18 and technically an adult.
Still mandated reporting, though,
It's
you would
still
think.
mandated reporting, yeah. I would think even if it wasn't for a child thing, it should be mandated reporting of like there are potentially because he's a high school senior, I suppose. That does not mean everyone
Yeah,
that
no, very true.
that doesn't mean that every one of the girls on that list are 18. And even if that was some weird shitty case of like, oh, we can't mandate report because it's like adult on adult violence. Okay, cool. There are some girls on that list who are still probably 17, minors. You can
Well,
still do this.
anybody who's ever been in therapy knows that your therapist has to tell you, if I think that you are a threat to yourself or others, I do have to tell someone.
Mhm.
I'm a mandated reporter. I cannot not say anything. But there's a difference between who you report to. So, like, obviously, you wouldn't be reporting an adult to child and family services,
No, you'd be reporting him to the police.
the police, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, ACAB and all that, but also these are there's a list of women whose lives are potentially at risk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very true.
We hop back over to Teresa Saunders and her incredible eyebrows. Jesus Christ. Teresa Saunders makes me think of Sue Klebold, who is the mother of one of the Columbine shooters. Even in like appearance, with like the full head of gray hair. Sue Klebold is now a mental health and suicide awareness advocate, and I wonder if it's intentional. If Teresa is supposed to make us think of Sue Klebold.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Earlier in the episode, Robbie has asked Esme, one of the custodial services people, to recon for him in the ICU. So when he comes out of the room, she's like, I went up there. They've got open beds. They should be ready right now. And there's bagels in the lounge. And I'm like, I love you.
Icon.
She's taking care of everyone. Gloria. She asks about the rats in the ED. If you listen very carefully at the same time she's asking, you will hear squeaking in the background. And I'm pretty sure it's like a wheelchair, like wheels on a wheelchair or something like that. But it's so funny that that happens at the same time. Very clever. This is Robbie's best humor all season long.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he charged him for a full visit. waiting on a second opinion. They're headed towards the cafeteria, so they'll be dead within the hour. He'll be here all week or not. Joyce St. Clair, she comes in with sickle cell pain. The paramedics, notably, are both white. They call Joyce drug seeking. They say she was causing a scene on a city bus, but Joyce is actually the one that called 911. And she is saying that. She is saying, I called 911. She knew she needed help. And I'm thinking about the circumstances here. If she's on a city bus, it makes me think that she was trying to get herself to the hospital, like
Mhm.
trying to downplay her pain and avoid a scene. And it got to the point where she just couldn't. But there is this racial overtone to the scene of these two white paramedics who are aggressive with her. They are accusing her of being drug seeking, causing a scene, all this other stuff. And Mohan finally just listens to her and says, "We're going to take care of you. Everything's going to be okay." He literally yells at everyone to stop. And it's one of the most powerful, beautiful moments. I love it. I love it because we see these moments where things are out of control and they have to come in and just yell at everyone to stop. Robbie's just done it. Now we have Mohan advocating for her patient and yelling at the paramedics to stop. And then the moment gets kind of quiet and she's able to talk with Joyce and ask her for her name and understand, is this your sickle cell pain? Just a very powerful moment.
Mhm.
Right. And then, orders what's the name of the nurse tech, whoever, who's like, she's like, "Oh, 10 milligrams of morphine on
Morphine.
repeat." And
IV
he's like,
morphine.
and he's like, "10, you sure?" He's like,
Donahue.
"Yes." Donahue,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, Donahue. Which, by the way, fun fact, his name is Donnie Donahue.
Love. Iconic.
We now are on the helipad receiving an electrocution patient. We're in Pittsburgh, outside on the helipad, and straight back to LA. So, my question here as we skip along through patients is if someone bought a shock collar for your pet, would you glue it onto them?
I would throw it in the trash because I don't want to catch an assault charge. This, like, I agree
Yeah.
inherently with what the pet owner did, but also I'm like, oh, this is like an open shut case for like an assault charge. That's not going to end well for
If
the
somebody
lady.
tried to put a shot color on my lizard as well, I would be like, "What?" Like, Kip's just vibing. Like, there's no need to.
There is nothing that I won't do for my cats. If you did anything to harm any of my cats, I would do it back to you. I will kick you. Like, I will hurt you.
Okay, noted. Be nice to Camille's cat so Camille does not kill me.
I also just love we're seeing this, like, buddy cop, it almost feels like, between Giovanni and McKay, and they like, I feel like they could just have the best gab sessions. They could just giggle and, like, smoke a joint or something, and just have the best time talking about patients and debriefing from the day. I think that if Giovanni gave McKay a chance, they could be really good buddies. Again, back with Mel and Langdon, they do not understand each other's humor. Langdon is really dryly trying to make a joke about Captain Scurvy and how he's probably a pirate. Um,
Boo, white man not funny.
what is he, a pirate? And Mel says, "No, he's an unhoused man."
Shame the white man for trying to be funny.
It was funny though. It was funny.
Listen, just because you love Patrick Ball does not mean his character is funny.
It was funny. Captain Scurvy is funny.
The only thing really that makes the joke funny, I think, is Mel not getting it. Like, it's not a great joke.
Just because you're in love with Patrick Ball does not mean that his character is funny.
He is funny. Langdon now sees Beto, who is custodial services but is retired, and is clearly struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's or
Mhm.
something like that. This is interesting to me. Someone, and I'm gonna have to find this post. I think it was on Tumblr at some point. Someone pointed out the parallel that we will see. I believe it's episode 11 or 12. When we see Beto, he is mopping and we learned that this is like where he belongs. This is where he feels like he belongs. He always ends up back here. And then right before we see Langdon after he's returned for the mass casualty incident, on as the camera is following Robbie to finding out that Langdon is there, we see someone mopping in the background.
Mm.
And they had pointed out like that was super interesting, like that parallel, and I really like that. So, like, we bounce. We go from Mel to Beto to Earl to Dana, and we see this parallel between Langdon and Robbie because they can't take 2 steps without someone needing them
Mhm.
or asking for them. We don't see this with the other doctors. This is specifically for Robbie and Langdon, which is hitting on the fact that, again, Langdon is the heir apparent to this ED. And now he's bought a puppy. Damn it.
He rightfully gets called out later where it's like,
What a
yeah,
choice.
yeah, you know, great, good, or like in this conversation, good of you to get another thing for your wife to take care of while she's already taking care of your 2 children.
Yeah.
I love that he's like, Tanner said he'd take care of him. Like, yeah, your 4-year-old is gonna take care of this dog for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 4-year-old. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I pointed this out in episode 1 that Dana is the keeper of his Red Bull. This is where it comes back, is that if you, and this is my brain being like absolutely neurotic, if you watch the scene in episode 1, she hands him his Red Bull, he takes a drink, he sets it down to the left of the computer that he's sitting at, or that he's typing at, and then in this scene, you will see Dana, she's at the same computer, and from the left side of the computer picks up the Red Bull and hands it to him again. Continuity. Amazing. I wanna say I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that this kind of continuity stuff, and especially, like, characters in the background is, thanks to, I wanna say it's Nicole Jones, who's the second AD. I believe she is the person who kind of handles that. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, someone can correct me, but I believe that's true. Whitaker is judgmental of the morphine dosage for Joyce. I will take a second and say I think it's fair for someone who doesn't know much about sickle cell, but also like he grew up in rural America with manual laborers for family, like they're farmers.
Mhm.
And so, like, honestly, valid of him to have preconceived notions about painkillers and morphine and things like that, because, like, I don't think it's inherently racist. I think that because of his background and where he comes from, he does see higher rates of like addiction to painkillers and things like that. So like his judgment of that, I think is honestly totally valid. Is he right? No, but is it valid? Yes.
Sure.
While we're having this conversation, this very serious conversation, someone in the background is flexing their muscles for Myrna.
I've never seen that.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Santos gets to do her gay fasciotomy,
Hell yeah.
holding hands with
Happy Pride
Garcia.
Month.
Woo!
Happy Pride Month.
And Mel is sad about families being torn apart. And this is one of those moments that is incredible foreshadowing, but also one of those moments you watch it and you go, hell yeah, King. Langdon has the moment where he says, they're white, they'll get off with a slap on the wrist. If they weren't, she'd probably lose her child and he'd end up going to jail. Says that he did a fellowship, says that he did a fellowship in cynicism. Checks in on Mel again a couple times. She says she's okay. This is foreshadowing for the fact that Langdon has a drug addiction and he is allowed a second chance by Robbie. He'll get off with a slap on the wrist because he's white, because he is the heir apparent, because he is privileged in a way that I don't think anybody would deny. I don't think that Patrick Ball would deny it. I don't think that Noah Wiley would deny it. I think that there's very much an awareness of it. I don't think that this is a show where characters are allowed privilege that the creators and people involved are not aware of, which is something I really love.
This is also, after this conversation, isn't this also where Mel like leaves goes outside and
She just needs some air.
She needs some air, and then she also like give herself her little,
She needs air and she needs Megan the Stallion. She's a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty.
And of course, there's no rest for, I can't say the wicked because she's not wicked, but it's the only way that it fits. So no rest for the wicked because homeboy ambulance comes by and drops off a GSW who goes straight to surgery. And Mel asks, well, what happens when more than one person needs surgery?
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, wonderful foreshadowing. And Robbie says things get a lot more crazy. Things get a lot busier. Yep.
I do love how this whole scene happens, and then Robbie's not used to excitement from his from his residents.
Everything is so serious all the time.
Everything is so serious. So Mel being like high five is really funny. His shock, his face, his look of like what the fuck just happened gets me every time.
It's so good.
Mr. Milton's dead. This is something that my boyfriend pointed out to me, is that between when we last saw him and now, he most likely called or texted his wife being like, "Oh, they said it was only gallstones. I should be home soon."
Mm.
And I'm like, "Wow, what the fuck? Hurt me more, why don't you?"
His
Yeah.
lips are kind of blue.
Because he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And Robbie understands that Mr. Milton is gone, but he does allow Whitaker to run the gamut. And I think that he has that moment of like, okay, I really do have to just allow him to do this.
Plus, who knows, that 1% of 1% chance, maybe Mr. Milton comes back, but like, we all know he's not going to. And Whitaker needs to learn that, sometimes shit happens and people die, and it's out of your control.
Santos is still calling Javati Crash. She kind of downplays all of the fun that Javati is having in chairs by calling it the Arrivals Lounge. And Javati calls her out and says, I have asked you to stop calling me Crash. And Santos totally misses the mark. She makes excuses, and then she says, big brain, big feelings, which makes me want to slap her. It's so rude.
Yeah, it's definitely bitchy, but I also think Giovanni's being a little bit bitchy back. So we're kind of,
Yeah,
you know.
that's fine. Yeah. But, I don't like it. Perla and Princess bet $20 that someone's going to get slapped by the end of the shift, and I kind of wish that had happened.
I feel like if there had not been a mass casualty event and more important things to worry about, I do think it would have happened.
It would have happened, yeah, for sure. Princess says Javati is stronger than she looks, and we do find out that she's right.
Yeah.
Whitaker keeps going with Mr. Milton. Robbie allows it. Robbie sets his terms and then leaves. Mr. Spencer is struggling. He's on BiPAP. He's breathing heavily. He's actually gasping for air through the mask as well, like through his mouth. He clearly is not getting the air that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
Collins is again challenging Robbie on Mr. Spencer. It's, thank God, not in front of everybody this time.
Yeah.
She finally does it privately, and that's fine. It's when it's in front of everybody that it's a problem.
Physician heal thyself, which is a proverb used to criticize people that don't take their own advice. She's telling Robbie to take his own time to process, take care of yourself or others, put your oxygen mask on first. He will ignore this advice and just spiral the fuck down later.
My big thing is that, like, as a Christian person, I'll be honest, I haven't read the Bible in its entirety, but I wanted to look into this. And I think that it's easy to understand it one way, but physician heal thyself is critical of doctors who are not treating their own ailments.
Mm-hmm.
And so physician heal thyself is not just like, oh, heal yourself. It's like, hello, you're treating everyone else. You're going to treat yourself? You do. Like, you have to put your oxygen mask on first. You have to treat yourself.
It's hard to take advice from someone who's not taking their own advice and like doing the best thing for themselves.
Right. And that is the criticism of physician heal thyself is take your own advice. How about you take your own advice? Robbie breaks the news to Nick's parents that he is brain dead. This is a devastating scene to watch. This is nearly where we leave the episode with the emotion of this hanging over us.
Yeah, the way that his mom is absolutely wailing, and the way that we kind of see everybody that we have spent time with kind of hearing this, so gut-wrenching.
It's also very accurate for an ER, where even with like closed doors and stuff, you will hear people cry and scream because everyone's suffering in an ER one way or another.
Yeah. There are a couple of parents or characters in this show throughout the season who show the emotional devastation, because we hear people coming in screaming in pain, but then we have a couple of people that really just ruin us emotionally. One of them, so obviously Lily Bradley, the wailing, the echo of it. I want to find out who I can ask on the show about how they filmed that and how they got the audio for it. Did they actually record the audio like from outside of the room? Were the microphones outside of the room? Like, that's what I want to know, because it is devastating.
Oh, yeah.
Teresa Saunders, we see her overhear this, and it prompts her to pick up her phone and try to text David again, because she's having that moment of like, my son could be causing something like this if I don't. Because we ask her repeatedly, do you think your son could could hurt someone. She's asked
Mhm.
repeatedly, do you think your son is capable of hurting someone? And she says no. But we have this moment now where we learn, like, that's not necessarily true, because she is picking up her phone again to text her son because she understands. She hears the sound of a woman losing her child and thinks, shit,
Yeah.
like, what happens if he does? She's a great advocate for her son in that she believes that he would never do something like that. However, she doesn't believe it entirely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you never want to think that someone that you care about is capable of doing something like that. But also, when you have found something like his list, it's like I have a lot of respect for her for not just being like, "Oh, my son would never, my son would never." Like she has come to seek help for this, which like I think takes a lot of courage, and I think is very, very big of her because she's not just like, oh, my precious son would never. Like, there's a part of her that is willing to look at the evidence that has been presented and be like, maybe he would.
He's thinking about it.
Yeah.
Robbie moves on from here and silently intubates Mr. Spencer. And he doesn't say a word. He's matter of fact. He's pissed. He's not happy.
Yeah, it's very clear he does not want to be doing this.
Yeah.
But he is because they threatened to sue. Like,
Which, that do be happening.
yeah.
We have Langdon coming to check in on Whitaker and Mr. Milton, and he's not vibing with continuing, but again, he gets it. He is in the same boat as Robbie. He gets it, right?
Hmm.
And that's where we leave everyone, in just utter devastation at the end of
Yep.
the second hour. God.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, this is the episode that I really got into it just because I think there's so many kind of hanging plot lines at the end of this one. Like I wanted to see what was going to happen with Mr. Spencer. I wanted to see what was going to be the conclusion of like Mr. Milton because like obviously I knew he was gone, but there's also this part of me that's like, but what if he's not? Kind of the same as Whitaker, and then there's the whole thing with like Nick and just this is the episode that I was like, okay, like bring on episode 3, so I think this one really feels like you're getting into the thick of things, and yeah, big fan of this one.
You have this moment, you watch this episode, and then like sit back and go, holy shit, it's 8 in the morning.
I know.
It's not even 9 o'clock yet.
There's still 10 hours to go in this shift.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
Supposed to be.
That's the bread and butter of working in medicine is like, oh, it's a 12-hour shift? Oh, buddy, you should always plan for it being more. But that is where we end this episode off. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if that's all, so long, fellow losers.
The Pit Crew podcast is created and produced by us, Robert, Mal, and Camille. It is edited by Robert. You can find us on TikTok, Threads, and Instagram at Pit Crew Podcast. If you'd like to support our other projects, our socials are linked in the show notes. Our art is by Rand Pacoca, and he can be found on Instagram at Rand Pacoca. All patient questions and concerns can be emailed to pittcrewpodcast@gmail.com. And this isn't a Taco Bell, but we do appreciate a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to schedule a follow-up appointment with a nurse before you go. See you next time.